I asked the
Talking about Barack.
Yeah. I asked the Blaze about 3 weeks ago. I said, I want to tell the stories that nobody is telling on Mitt Romney. Everybody is going in, and what started this was, what was the last thing they dug up? Oh, the cancer, that he caused cancer from somebody 8 years after he fired them. And he killed my wife.
He wasn't even there when the guy lost his job either. So.
Right. I mean, he had nothing to do with it. And I thought to myself, what is it? I mean, this guy is squeaky clean. If you're coming up with stuff like that, and the dog on the roof and the haircut that probably didn't happen according to the family, probably didn't happen in 1965, this guy is squeaky clean. So I asked my staff, go find the stuff on Romney, the good stuff. Because if there's no bad stuff, I'll bet you there's good stuff out there that nobody's telling the story on. Well, we went, and we went looking. And I will tell you that I don't think the Romney campaign, I don't know because I'm not a producer, but my impression is the Romney campaign wasn't really helpful on this, because I don't know if they even trust us, or, Romney is also the kind of guy that doesn't like to talk about all this stuff, but he should. You watch Friday's show. We brought in, 6 or 7 people that didn't know Mitt Romney, but whose lives have been changed by Mitt Romney. I think only one of them knew Mitt Romney. Life has changed because of him. There's a story of a guy in Boston. He runs a vet hospital. He tells the most compelling story I've ever heard about any politician, ever. It starts out the way normal politician stories start. Ted Kennedy was coming over to this vet hospital. He spent 30 minutes. The press was all there. He took a tour of the hospital. A couple of weeks later, Mitt Romney, who's running against him, comes in. He takes a tour of the hospital, but he says, can I see your books? And he goes into his office, and he sits with this hospital's books for 40 minutes. No press is around. He just wants to look at the ledger. He finishes, closes up the books, and he says, you run a very good place, very tight, very good. Then he takes a tour, and it's I think another hour of the tour. So he spent an hour and 40 minutes. And he's asking in-depth questions. The last question he asks, when the press is around, the last question he asks is, so what are you lacking? What do you need help with? The guy says, milk. He says, what do you mean, milk? He says, milk. The vets need milk. And Romney does a really awkward, joke where he says, well, maybe we should teach everybody here how to milk a cow. And the press is there. Click, click. And when he leaves, so the press comes up to the guy and says, did he just say that vets should be taught to milk cows? And he's like, and the guy who runs the place, who was on the show on Friday, was a little pissed. And he's like, yeah, he did. Was he joking? I don't really know. I mean, he's had a weird sense of humor. I don't know. And he was kind of pissed. So they run with this story, and it's all over Boston. Mitt Romney says veterans should have to milk cows. Romney calls him up the next morning. Now, here's where it gets good. Romney calls him up the next morning. And first of all, if that happens to me, I feel so stupid. And I probably want to avoid making the call to the guy and say, hey, I'm really sorry, man. I didn't mean that. I mean, it takes a lot to say, and otherwise you just, get past it. Just move past it. He calls him up, and he says, hey, listen, man, I'm really sorry. I'm not asking for anything. I just want you to know it's my fault. I said it. I meant it as a joke, but it was really stupid of me. And now I brought dark things to your place, and you're doing such great work, and I'm really, really sorry. I'll try to help you with the milk. I'll see if, there's things I can do to help. Yeah, I'm really sorry. Guy, he hangs up the phone, and we were talking about it last night. He hangs up the phone kind of like this. Okay, thanks a lot, politician, and hangs up the phone. Friday comes, the milkman comes. Milkman comes. This is what the vets needed. They needed 7,000 pints of milk a week. Milkman shows up, 7,000 pints. The head of the VA hospital says, where'd all this come from? He said, an anonymous donor. Now, the guy didn't put it together. He's like, wow, that's great. Next week, 7,000 pints of milk. Still an anonymous donor? Yep. Next week, 7,000 pints of milk. Goes on for 3 months. 7,000 pints of milk. He says to the milkman, who's doing this? Don't know. Just somebody who doesn't want to be known. Goes on for another 3 months. 7,000 pints of milk every single week. Anonymous donor. Who's doing it? Don't know. Goes on for another 6 months. It's now a year. 7,000 pints of milk. Come on, man. Tell me who did it. Goes on for another year. Now the milkman is retiring. It's been happening for 2 years since the incident. Now the milkman is retiring. He says, come on, man, you got to tell me who's delivering the milk. Who's paying for the milk? And he's like, the guy doesn't want it to be known. You have to tell me. It's been 2 years. Come on, tell me who's doing it. It's Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney was writing a personal check and didn't want anybody to know for 2 years and provided the vets with all of their milk in Boston. Now, here's where it really gets amazing. When Romney becomes governor, he sends a bill through to help this VA hospital, and they send in a proposal, and then the government comes back and says what they're going to do. What the government said they were going to do, he changed some of the numbers and did some things. He took care of all of the food costs, and he said it was like down to the dollar. He said Romney remembered looking at our books, did the calculations in his head, and covered our food and milk. He said, you want a mechanic on the economy? It's this guy. He went, and he said, the only politician who's done it, he went and he looked at the books first. He wanted to see what we were doing and how effective we were. He said then, beyond that, the milk. He did that, and he didn't want anything. He didn't want anyone to know. He said, anybody tell you this? Anybody cover this story? He said, no. The stories you'll hear on Friday are available. Our people found them. And we didn't send investigators. Nobody's going through anybody's garbage. We just started to look. And the stories we found, I'm telling you, I apologize to Mitt Romney and his family for being so blind and not seeing who he was. That does not mean I'm going to agree with all of his policies. But I am blind. I have been saying we need to find George Washington, a man of true character and honor and decency. When you watch the show on Friday, you will, I'm convinced, you will feel exactly the same way I do. How misguided have we been? How blind is our press? How treasonous is our press? That this stuff is out there, and this is only one show. I'll bet you I could do a week of these shows. This isn't like, okay, can we stretch this? This is all we could put in on one show.
That's a lot like what Barack Obama did. He's got a brother in Kenya who lives in a mud hut and 75 cents a month, and he didn't do anything about it. Mm-hmm. But he didn't want anybody to know about that either, so he didn't talk about it.
Wow, he didn't step up.
He also had an uncle who lives on the streets in, I think it was Cleveland, and destitute, homeless.
And he probably tried to take credit for that, though, and tout himself.
No, he didn't do anything.
Oh, my gosh.
But he didn't say anything about it either because he didn't want anybody to know.
That's honorable.
And the only way any of this came out was his illegal alien aunt, whom he loves and writes about in the book, surfaced, living in poverty. And he had done nothing for her, too. But he didn't say anything because he didn't want anybody to know. Wow. So it's a lot like that. Mm-hmm.
It's really
a lot
amazing.
like that.
Don't miss this show on Friday. It's on the Blaze
You talk
TV.
about a man who is his brother's keeper. It is Mitt Romney.
No. You won't believe the stories. You won't believe the stories of this guy. I didn't believe them. I felt like a worthless worm. I really felt like the least charitable, the least active. I mean, here's a guy who's doing all kinds of stuff, and there's a story that at midnight, somebody calls and says, need your help. He says, send your son over. Son comes over. I'm telling you, this guy's counsel to this other man's son will blow you away. And the son is on the set, and he said, my life changed. My life changed. Man, I cannot tell you the feelings that I had during this hour. I apologize. I apologize for being so blind. I expect politicians to be nothing but politicians. This man may be a politician on some things and behave the way normal politicians do on stage, but when nobody's watching, he is not a politician. He is a man that I would strive to be like. It is something that, honest to God, that's what our president used to be. Somebody that you would look to and say, I think I can be better. If he can be like that and he's this busy, I can be better. Please watch Friday's show.